Good afternoon, everybody. It's Sunday, August 16th. I'm not sure what the heck date it is, but anyway, it's Sunday. Those of you that follow the channel realize there was no video last week. That is correct. Last week, I just didn't have the time after Isaias to shoot a video the way I wanted to shoot a video, so I'm doing it this week. And what's going on in here is there's a lot of stuff going on, which is typical after we have a big storm. I had no power or internet access for 3 days. I was on my generator for 3 days, and with no internet access is actually not good for me. Number one, it shuts down the cloud server. Number two, it causes me not to be able to do any work. You can't do research, you can't download things, and you're just reeling in a world of stuff when you lose internet. So there is a ton going on, and I'm going to go over it. Starting with this MacBook over here, it actually needs an OS upgrade and some other attention, which it's getting right now. I'm actually going to call its owner in a little bit. Probably after I get this video worked on, I'm going to call the owner and go over it. And then we'll go from there. And then we have this desktop, which needs to clean off, but the problem is it's got a password and I don't have it. And I've been trying to get a hold of the owner, and I haven't been able to do so yet. Hopefully I'll be able to get him soon, and we'll get the password for this so I can start working on it. This machine over here is rather interesting. This machine drives a front end alignment machine. This is the machine that aligns your front end when you take your car in to the shop to have work done. And you have your front end aligned. That's done on a computer, and the computer sits inside another cabinet that has a built-in display. It has a keyboard, it has your basic controls, it has the special sensors for doing the alignments, etc, etc, etc. And the computer inside this front end aligner needed some attention. The power supply in it actually blew up, which downed the machine. And then once I got the power supply diagnosed to the point of getting it running, I discovered that it needed some other things. It needed a processor fan, and it needed a hard drive clone, because the hard drive that's in this machine is extremely old, and the software that is on it is priceless. The company that makes this machine, Hunter, no longer supports it, so if we lose the software that's on it, we're in a world of crap. And we can't have that happen, so I replaced the hard disk. It's doing the clone right now. These are older SATA disks, so it's a very, very slow clone. We've got a couple hours left on it. And then after I'm done with this clone and I've tested it and verified that it works, I'm actually going to do a reverse clone onto this hard drive over here. So we have two complete copies of everything that's on this machine. This is a very old Windows XP machine, and as I said, we can't afford to lose what is on it. That would be catastrophic if that were to happen. Speaking of vintage computers, the reason this monitor is set up over here instead of the big boy is because the big HDMI monitor actually has problems displaying some of the low-level screens that vintage computers produce. I believe it's a resolution problem. I actually need a different piece of hardware to make vintage computers work on this monitor correctly, which I don't have yet. I'm going to be looking into that, and there will be future videos on that. Speaking of vintage computers, though, we're not done yet. Because down here, I got this big gateway, and the owner's youngest daughter loves this big gateway. And I said to her, why not get this thing functioning so she can use it? Well, the biggest problem with vintage computers, if you're into vintage computers, is like everything else, they have vintage hard drives. And those of you that follow this channel know what I always say about hard drives that are over 3 years old. Well, this hard drive that goes with this machine is extremely old. We're talking 1998 vintage. So it definitely needs to be cloned, but what do we clone it to? Well, we clone it to a compact flash card. However, the required adapter is not going to arrive until Monday. So I'll probably shoot another video on that and how we deal with that. As you know, I've done this before. I do work on vintage equipment. This will actually be the third vintage machine that I've restored. Vintage computers, working on them is different from modern computers, and I'll go over that in another video. Those of you that don't know, I've actually been around computers 37 years. I'm 42 now. I started this when I was 5. I started out with the Apple II line. I actually owned an Apple IIc, but I also used 2Es and the 2GS for a very brief time. And so I've been around, and then I got into IBM's, actual IBM's, back when they were making personal computers, which IBM is no longer in that business. I actually got my first IBM MS-DOS machine in 1990. So I actually grew up on vintage computers, and or what we would consider today vintage computers, and I do work on vintage equipment. So if you have a vintage computer you'd like to see me do, just give me a call and we'll get it in here, we'll get it fixed, and we'll get it working again. I think that's gonna be it for this week. This is somewhat of a long video, but like I said, there's a lot going on, and there will be a midweek video this week. I will see everyone next time. See you all soon. Bye-bye.